Okay, I've got 5 o'clock on Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020. We're going to start the Town of Sangerville Board of Selectmen meeting. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2, approval of the minutes, Select Board Meeting 11/18/2020.
Make motion to approve the minutes.
Second. All in favor? We all three vote in favor. Item 3, review of treasurer's warrants, payroll 93, 95, and accounts payable 94.
Make a motion to approve A and B's read.
Second.
All in favor? All three in favor. Open session. Would someone like to speak?
I would.
All right, please introduce yourself and,
Certainly will. Good evening, my name is Jamie Dorr, I live in East Sangerville on Milton Mill Road. I've talked to Bertie, I've talked to one of you guys here a few
I
months ago.
think you and I spoke, it might have been 2 summers ago.
No, last spring or last fall.
Okay, because we were working over there.
Yeah, it was last fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the problem I have is, you know, I don't know if anybody here, you might not be familiar with what happens, but, the water coming down the East Sangerville Road takes a 90-degree turn, goes into my field, and it continues to wash out my driveway, so forth and so on. So the water does not follow the natural flow that it would go. And it's probably been that way for 150 years, all right? You know, I was born and raised there. It used to be a cow pasture. But anyway, the culvert used to be probably 12 inches 50 years ago. You know, since then, over the years, the culvert has been bigger, bigger, bigger. Not to put against any of my neighbors, but a lot of the water, it's not just the water from the East Sangerville Grange Hall and Church down, but it also comes from the fields adjacent to it. So I get all the water through the culvert onto my property. The town ditched out 30 feet probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago. They hired a contractor, they ditched the first 20, 30 feet. What it does is, without the ditching there, it saturates my field. Makes it unusable, because it's nothing but a wet swamp. And it's not naturally that way. When you go past my driveway on the rest of my property, it's washed out a ditch anywhere from 3 to 5 feet deep. And it's eroding the land. I have never come, I've talked to Bertie a couple times, but recently I talked to you. I never addressed it prior. I just kind of like dealt with it. I had the rest of the field ditched so the water would drain. So the culverts that I installed under my driveway will handle my water from my property. But since the ditching was done on the East Sangerville Road, which cleaned out the ditches, which is, you know, I understand, I get it. The water comes down through there like a torrent, all the way from even above the Grange Hall, down through. Like I said, the normal path of the water would keep going down the East Sangerville Road, down to the stream, which is about another half a mile away. But, you know, years ago, and I understand why, because it's ledge at the end of the
Flanders Hill.
Flanders Hill Road, there's ledge there. I know there's ledge there because I have it on my property. You know, probably 150 years ago, the water comes down, they give it a 90-degree turn, you know, around my property, and then I have to deal with it. So, I mean, I just rebuilt my driveway 2 falls ago. You know, I hauled in $1,800 worth of gravel, built my driveway up nice. I hired a contractor this summer to clean up the field, so we keep it looking nice. But, you know, we had the rain yesterday, and I understand, you know, it's not a normal storm.
Yeah.
by any means, But the same thing happens in the springtime when we have a meltdown. So, you know, I told everybody, we talk, what's the resolution? I don't know. I want to be a good citizen, I am a good citizen, I'm not raising a stink, but I don't think it's fair to me, I pay my taxes, I don't think it's fair to me that my driveway keeps getting washed out and I have to continue fixing it when it's runoff that's not, to my knowledge, there's no easement for the town to do that, and probably there might not need to be one, I don't know. If I have to pursue it legally, I probably will. It's not something I want to do, but it's just the point, I don't think it's fair that my land and my driveway is being, because of, all the circumstances. And like I said, I just, what's the resolution? I don't know. But it has to be other than just, no, that's fine. Other than just dumping the water there and say, it's your problem.
Right.
Which I don't think is fair.
Yeah.
So,
As far as an easement for the water, I think if, and I'm not an attorney, but I have had quite a few conversations with MMA regarding issues like this and similar to this in the time that I've been doing this. And it seems like, for example, if we're going to implement something like that today, we couldn't do that.
right.
Or it would be very difficult
Yeah.
for us to do that. But if something has existed for, like you said, 100 years, it's moot. We're not really required to do anything. In fact, the second you leave, that a 3-rod road there?
Yeah, it's actually an old state road, which was given back to us, so, it was built, the state's back, or,
Even if it's a 4-rod road. So once you get beyond what is ours to, maintain,
Yeah.
we're not even allowed to spend any money.
So how far is a rod?
16.5 feet.
So that's a 3-rod road?
If it's a 3-rod road, that's how you would,
So 45 feet from the center of that road is your responsibility.
we can't spend any money beyond that.
So at 45 feet, at 45 and a half feet, I can do whatever I please. If I'd like to build a dam there, I can build a dam. Hold on.
It's subject
And if it
to,
washes out the road that was just paved, that's your problem, not mine.
I'm not sure that it would work that
I would
way.
say that.
Because I've seen examples where people tried to redirect water that would damage either a state or local highway, and the onus was on them to correct it. Now maybe if they had a situation that was existing for 100 years, then it would be up to, the
So what
state.
about the erosion on my land?
I believe it's gonna fall under that same discussion.
Tough.
The land probably has been eroding over the last 100 years. But what happens to us is, we might all want to
Hey, sure.
buy a big culvert for your driveway. We're not even allowed to do it.
I understand that. And I don't think that's something the town should get into, is fixing people's property. But where else in the town is that done? Where there's a 90-degree angle given, and you dump the water on. I understand there's culverts that transfer the water from one side of the road to the next with a natural flow. They're all over the place. And I understand you didn't do it, we didn't do it.
Right.
It was done however many years ago, and then probably it should have been addressed when they changed culverts. Well, my dad didn't, God bless his soul. He probably should have stood up then and said something, hey, whatever the situation, because a few years ago, there was a issue with the Milton Mills Road, and from past selectmen, plus back town managers or whatever, and we had to give a warranty deed, because supposedly the road had been discontinued. I'm sure you guys know about the situation that happened now. So, so you're telling me there is no resolution, it's just tough luck? Deal with it.
No, I don't. did
No,
we
I
say
think that's what you said.
No.
We're not an attorney, we don't know, we would have to find out, but my only thing is you're talking about the natural flow. Well,
Yep.
the natural flow, to me, if that road, whether the road's there or not,
Yep.
and there's ledge right there at Flanders Hill,
Right.
the natural flow of that water is gonna come across that road and go into your property.
But
Because
not the
you
way it does-
can't,
But not the way it does now. So, 2 years ago, you hauled in a load of stone and dumped it there beside the culvert. So
Rip
the-
wrap.
Pardon?
You mean rip wrap, to keep the erosion around the culvert, from plugging the culvert?
No, that's not why it was there, but
Oh, okay.
you can say that.
No, I did, I'm not referencing
He's
your
asking.
spot.
No, I'm talking about 25 feet wide. I understand why it was put there, I get it. Yeah, I'm a good neighbor with my neighbors, all right? I'm not again, you know, a lot of the problem is the water, it comes from the fields. There is no abatement between the field and the ditch. But a lot of it comes from the Grange Hall down. And the natural flow, if you took the culvert out, if that culvert was not there, the flow of the water is still straight down. I don't care what you say.
well, you can't go through ledge,
I,
is what I'm saying.
I understand,
There's no
but
other way to move that
200
hall.
years ago, you're right, they couldn't get through there.
Correct.
But if it was done today, you wouldn't be able to do it unless the homeowner said, okay.
That's probably
If we were gonna
true.
build a brand new
You're
road,
damn right it's
probably
true.
correct.
And then you would be paying to have that water coat down the road.
But it was done 100 years ago. We have lots of situations like that.
Correct.
It's not right.
And it's just what we're dealt. I mean, the three of us have the rule, I can't, we actually have people plugging culverts, believe it or not, for the
Oh,
same
no.
reason.
Don't believe it hasn't crossed my mind.
I mean, it's happening. So, I mean, I totally sympathize with your position, but, and if you end up pursuing this and your attorney says we have some statute that requires us to address it, then
Yeah.
that probably will happen. Because our attorney is will have to address that, we can't ignore it. But that's,
But it is being ignored.
well, right now, we're under the
We have
impression
no-
I can't put a culvert in your driveway. We've been told we can't spend money on private property.
Right.
That's against the law. So that, even though that might work, we're not allowed to do it.
I understand.
But that's our impression, we could be wrong.
I just figured we'd come up with some other solution than what it is now.
What would you suggest?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
No, to be honest with you, I
That was
don't.
my question,
Yeah.
was, do
know-
you have a resolution
I
in your
mean-
mind? I mean, have you?
Oh, there's a few resolutions. Number one is get rid of the culvert and put it somewhere else and run the water down. But to me, that's not practical.
I would agree with you.
I had several contractors tell me it wasn't practical.
That what?
I had a couple contractors tell me that we.
I mean, it's doable,
It's doable, but
but it's not, but it's not,
practical.
right? So that, I mean, you know, like I said, and I'm just looking for a resolution to where I just want my properties to stop being damaged. I pay my taxes like everybody else in this town. It's not fair to me that my property is being, you know, damaged. I'm getting a little bit tired of paying $1,500 every 2 years to repair my driveway. I shouldn't have to go out and buy another culvert, because the culvert I have will take care of the water in my field. And this has been going on ever since, for the last 15 years, you know, whenever we started building and putting the driveway in and so forth and so on. I just didn't pursue it, because, hey, I just dealt with it. But it's just getting, like I said, once the East Sangerville Road was ditched, I mean, which I get, it needs to be done. It just the water just comes down through there like a raging, it's crazy. But like I said, but I don't get just the water from the Grange Hall and the church down through. I get everything from the church and Grange Hall all the way to Mar Pond, and it comes my way. I get some great topsoil out of it.
Yeah, a lot of potato field ends up down there.
I don't, you know, but like I said, I just, So, I mean, to me, one resolution would be, okay, get rid of the culvert and run it down the road to the stream. Another resolution is maybe reroute it in my field to where it runs off to somewhere else instead of straight down. But then again, I have to pay for that. And I shouldn't have to, because it's not something that, if that culvert was not there, what I have will take care of my problem that I have with whatever, water there is. Or I can put a bigger culvert under my driveway, but then again, it's another expense on mine that I have to take on that I shouldn't have to. Like I said, normally I believe that if it was today and an easement is reached, you also have to come to an agreement, or I have heard of agreement, I won't take up your whole night, believe me, where the homeowner gets a, I don't know what you want to call it, a different tax rate.
An abatement or
An
something.
abatement from the water because of his taxes. So like I said, I believe, because I too have been in touch with people from the MMA, not them themselves, but, to ask questions about it.
Yeah, I think your impression, I think you're right, if it was done today, it
Exactly.
probably, but
It's not.
I
yeah.
understand it's not.
That's the whole point, actually.
Is it grandfathered in? I don't know.
I think 20 years is, and you've told me it's closer to 100, so I think 20 years is like a critical number.
Yeah. for
Back 20
prescription.
years?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So anything done more than 20 years ago?
not anything, but many things of this ilk, if they were done 20 years or more ago, it's pretty much, it's grandfathered.
Now, that's from the state or from the town?
I think it's state statute.
That's assumed, or,
It's
According to
state-
MMA, it's state statute.
really?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I just,
Very much like us not being able to spend money on private property,
Right.
that's state statute too.
Right.
We might like the idea, but
No.
we'd have to go to the town and they'd have to vote on it.
yeah. No, I agree, and that's not a good practice to get into.
No,
That's probably why they have the statute.
that's right, so we don't get,
Because I, for one, if I was at the town meeting, I'd vote against it.
Right.
I don't want my tax money being spent on somebody's driveway that.
Right.
And you can imagine, everybody's, all of a sudden, you might have 100 items that people had these projects that they felt,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
you should spend on my property now.
Yeah.
So I can see maybe why the statute
Oh,
is the
no,
way it is.
you're opening up a Pandora's box.
Probably you're right, yeah.
Like I said, I just wanted to approach you guys, I talked to Bertie a couple times about it, like I said, I'm not, I wouldn't want you guys' job, no thank you. I've dealt with the general public for many years, and,
I will say that we did, at the time of doing the ditching, the contractor did give a sincere look at going across Flanders Hill, and everybody agreed it wasn't practical,
no, it's not. And I know that,
so.
but I'm just trying to figure out some way to stop my driveway from getting washed out, that's all.
no,
Like I said, I had contractors come in and we cleaned the field all up. We bulldozed the ditches so they're nice, we seeded them down so they look nice. I like my property to look nice, I like the town I live in, I want to keep it that way. So, like I said, I just wanted to approach, I thank you for, letting me have my 20 minutes of venting, but
And if you get information that you
Yeah.
think supports what you'd like to do, please bring it to us. We're not afraid to
like I said,
investigate.
there's only a couple of resolutions, route the water in the field somewhere else. But then again, like I said, we don't know how far that ledge comes down into the field,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
can swing it back around and go down the other way, so.
no.
It's just-
I went out and looked at it after you and I talked, and I'm not an engineer, but my guess is a larger culvert for your driveway is probably the most cost-effective way to save the driveway,
Right.
but I don't.
No, I agree with you, But, like I said, that's, something I might have to do if, you spend the money for the lawyer or spend the money for a bigger culvert.
Yeah, there you go,
Yeah, or it washes out 2 more times, it's like,
That's
there's my
right.
culvert.
That's right.
Well, I was, like I said, I was hoping what we had done this spring So like I said, we cleaned the field all up, we graded it all out good, so the water comes down, unfortunately, it's got a straight shot down through, and it held it also, well, we didn't get much rain this summer, so.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And then this
Yeah.
We got
past
it all
spring
yesterday.
start. Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yep.
Bert.
Yeah.
Like I said, I appreciate it, I just wanted to see if there's maybe something that we could possibly do, but,
We're open to hearing from you if you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
more
yeah.
information. So,
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of resolutions, and I know the town's not gonna go buy me a bigger culvert.
No.
Unless you got some used ones hanging around that's no good or something, I don't know.
Believe it or not, even that
We
gets
can't do
thorny,
it.
because we're giving away town property. All of this stuff happens more often
How
than
about
you
if
would
you sell
think.
it?
That you can do,
That
but
we
as
can
long
do.
as it's of low enough value, otherwise we have to get permission from the town to sell it,
The
so.
bad part of this conversation is typically when we take a culvert out, it's not worth going back.
No,
Yeah.
it comes out for a reason, but,
Yeah, you left them in the woods.
no, it's probably happened,
I know for a fact you did.
yeah.
You left a plastic one laying in the woods, there was really nothing wrong with it.
Oh, geez. All right.
It's not in the woods anymore. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
So, do you have any old used culverts that are,
Everything I know up there right now is just total, I mean, it's,
Toast.
yeah, I
oh,
know.
they're not good?
Yeah, they're new ones or they're
The ones
They're
that,
crushed and.
yeah, I mean, they're
rotted
just
and-
completely
yep.
miscombobulated ones.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a big one, I'd offer to buy it off the town, if there was a bigger one up there, a used one. But-
Yeah, I don't think so.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So there's.
There's not, I know there's not any use,
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that, there isn't anything up there, I think I would try to get this big, a 4-foot piece out of.
Yeah,
When they took those out, they were metal, they were very rotted, and they took them out with the excavator, and they were like.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
just crumpled
They're
there.
just,
I didn't know if maybe they had replaced some old plastic ones or something. that
there's
was-
nothing up there right now, I mean, I don't know what's gonna get changed out in the spring, or you may have something then, but right now, there's nothing up there, other than the new ones.
We're looking at,
But
I wonder if there's any big ones coming.
Not sure.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Item 5, old business, COVID updates and carrying out of executive orders.
Well, there's basically, you get updates every time we turn around. Last time we talked about the fact that public buildings, municipal buildings are public places, so masks are required. This came through from the state of Maine clarifying what to do with people with disabilities. So basically, you don't have to allow them in your building and shouldn't, but you do have to do something to accommodate them. So Maine Human Rights Commission had a posted guidance on this. Oh, I did it again. A business may decline to allow the person in the store to shop, but is still required to deliver its services with the accommodations in order to remain compliant with the Maine Human Rights Act. Such accommodations may include offering the option of a face shield, allowing for takeout or curbside service, using a personal shopper, or providing individual appointment time to enter the building without customer presence. So basically now, if people come in and refuse to wear a mask and refuse to leave, it's criminal trespass.
Huh. Wow.
We had an issue the other day, and
Oh.
so the sign has been updated that says you must wear a mask in the building, please do not enter if you
Right.
don't have a mask.
Right.
If you need further assistance, the phone number's right there on the sign.
that's good.
Call us and
That's good.
we'll take care of it that way.
Yeah.
And then, so on the listserv for a bunch of towns, the question was, are you still letting people in? And most towns are, some are doing by appointment only. Livermore, I thought this was interesting, they're accepting one person at a time, and they call the locksmith, and for $650 they installed a remote lock with intercom, so the clerks do not have to keep opening the
Oh,
door.
wow. Oh, so they just buzz them in?
Just those men.
Huh, that's it, yeah.
I don't know that we have anybody local enough, but I thought I might give somebody a call and see. I don't know if it's practical or not. I'll send you this, I got it this afternoon, it's from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It's a screening algorithm, so if you have COVID symptoms, what do you do? If you don't have any symptoms but have been exposed, what do you do? And it is a flow chart of what to do. And then also on listserv, Lois Jones, Town of Corona, put on, she wanted to know about hybrid meetings. I don't know that it's anything we're really interested in because we don't have enough people interested, but
So are you talking about like a Zoom meeting?
like a Zoom or go-to meeting, some of them have gone even further and they have TV stations that
Oh geez.
run their
Wow.
meetings through it, and yeah, I looked at all the tech and my eyes crossed, but it might be something, we have town meeting coming up, and I don't know what we're going to do there, so it was something that just crossed my mind.
You wonder though, if in fact, we set the date for town meeting and we do get something like Zoom or whatever it may be, you guys probably have a better idea of those, that we could just go ahead and have our town meeting and not worry about canceling it.
I
Because of
really hope
numbers.
and pray that never happens. I am in team meetings multiple times a day.
I'm sure.
And they don't always work right.
It never, teams especially, but I mean, there's a lot of lag. But the worst part about whether doesn't matter what platform you wanna use,
Uh-huh.
the first thing you do is look at the screen, everyone mute your mic. I mean, because if when you do that, if you're talking and somebody drops a pen on another camera,
Yeah.
that mic picks up and cuts you out.
Oh.
So I can't imagine, I mean, I deal with meetings with say 8 to 10 people at a time in a Teams meeting. And even then, you're constantly reminding people, mute your mic, or
Yeah.
people will talk, you gotta unmute your mic.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
to
I see.
reach that out to a town level and
I know.
Would
that
be
amount of people, I
unreal.
just,
Well, I don't, particularly the functionality of a town meeting. I mean, moderators' rules, asking questions, voting.
Yeah.
I just don't see it, would be any functionality there.
Yeah, okay.
You certainly could have like a special where you talked about one topic. But even then, I think our technology is so wanting that very few of our residents would get to participate.
Yeah, yeah.
I did talk to MMA, I was talking to them about something else, and said, so when does the law allowing you to operate on last year's budget? And it's sometime in mid-January that goes away. However, if we're still increasing, probably the governor will extend it. And he seemed to think that even if the governor didn't extend it, you'd be within. I
don't wanna talk about
Yeah,
I'd rather plan right now, let's hurry up and get it done and approve it before it expires.
yeah.
It would seem to me that that's the most prudent thing to do, with the understanding that when we can have a meeting, even though it might be a meeting that we're basically cleaning up loose ends, that we have it. But I think if the drop dead date is the 17th of January, we should have our budget ready before then, if that's at all possible.
I can have a budget ready. Well, if you're gonna go with last year's budget, if you're
That's the only thing you can do,
exactly, I mean,
or that or less,
Right.
yeah.
if my understanding of statutes is correct. Because otherwise, we just don't know how open-ended this could be.
No, we don't have any,
And with a 50-person limit, that's not really gonna be a town meeting.
No.
No.
Because, I mean, you got, now you're down to 45, and then
Right,
you got
right.
vote counters, and, it's just,
Yeah,
it's not practical.
moderator, yeah, I
It's
mean,
not practical.
You'd almost have to have a moderator, and then you would almost have to have like a assistant, do it in multiple rooms.
yeah.
It would just be,
yeah.
no.
I don't think it would be well-received.
No.
And we're well within, I mean, our budget was really pretty clean last year, so in that sense, we're in a good position. I mean, if you had bought a brand new
Yeah,
ladder truck last year, and you had another one of those in this year's budget, I guess you could cut it out, I think
Right.
you can go backwards,
You
so.
can, yeah, those one-shot deals, you can
pull them out.
pull them out.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we also, one big variable, is, revenue sharing and, you know, assistance from the state in general. It wouldn't shock me if they cut us pretty hard. And so we probably are gonna have to have a meeting, once we can have meetings, to address that shortfall. We're either gonna take it from general or, you know, address it in next year's budget, but we'll wanna talk about it if they do that, when we don't know they're going
Haven't
to.
heard, haven't seen those numbers yet. They didn't cut us this year.
Which doesn't surprise me, because that's based on previous year's revenue, so.
Right. Right, so we're not seeing yet how bad or,
Right.
I wouldn't bet a pizza against getting cut this year.
Nope. Wouldn't even dare talk about it.
so.
But we're kind of, are we gonna make this declaration right now? Unless something changes, do we wanna get this budget in before the statute changes?
I think that's a good idea.
I think that's a very good idea,
Yeah.
because I mean, last year, there was a lot of towns there was a lot of projects that was on hold last year for a lot of towns because they couldn't have a meeting.
Yeah, and this statute came about as a result of all of that. We were one of the last towns in this area to have a meeting. We were just a week ahead of that shutdown.
Right.
And then the statute came in.
Yeah,
I bet they extend it, but I'd rather not get caught in the bind.
Correct.
So the date is January 17th?
I
Oh,
just
we don't
picked it,
know.
it was a hypothetical.
Oh.
It's the second-ish week, I think.
yeah.
Okay,
14th, 15th, it was somewhere right in the middle of
oh, okay.
the month. I will follow up on that.
But I mean, you're passing an equal to last year's budget, which
Right.
everybody already did.
That's right.
Or potentially, if there's any reductions or any savings, we can go down, right?
Yeah, if
that how you're
we wanted to
understanding it
target
as well?
something
Yep.
and say, you know what, let's spend less, I think we're allowed to do that, but I don't think we can spend more. I don't know if you can jigger it, in other words, say, we're gonna pull from this and move it over here, I would be reluctant to do that.
I don't think you can.
Okay.
Because one thing is just, it seems like that budget was voted on, it was
Right.
approved.
Yep.
If you start jiggering it, people
Yep.
could say, well, we didn't approve for that,
That's
and they would be right.
Yeah.
But any of those categories or
Right.
any of our articles, if those came down, if any individual article came down is okay. But you can't take this one down 20.
Yeah, you can't borrow
And
from a
move it over
road and
here.
move it over to
Correct.
there, yeah.
No, I just wanna,
That would seem like
Right,
the
because
fairest
that
way
would
to
be
do it.
adding, that would be adding to a different line.
That's correct, you're right.
So-
And each one of those were separate warrants.
Right,
Yeah.
so,
I think for the most part, particularly if we all agree that odds are very high that revenue sharing is gonna get cut,
yeah,
you probably leave your silos alone
Mm-hmm.
and hope for the best. Because if you have extra money, then you can go to the town and say, we didn't spend this, we didn't do this much paving. So we can offset, we'll have some flexibility, but
Yep.
it's gonna be, I think this year is gonna be tougher than last year.
Right.
For a lot of towns. Cause some of them are operating off a 2-year-old budget.
so I mean, now that we're talking about that, I mean, we're talking about having a budget ready and,
6 weeks, less than 6
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, but it's already ready, it's last year's budget.
I understand, you don't wanna go through look at all? You just
You're
want,
not allowed to change it. We've
You're
already
right.
agreed on that.
you can reduce.
You could reduce, but I think having a little cushion in light of what's probably gonna happen,
Just leave it.
Just
the way
leave it.
is.
So you wouldn't bother to have your budget committee look at it or anything?
I don't know, I'm not sure
That's a
what,
question.
I'm not sure if that's really fair to them.
Cause they can't really do
They
anything.
can't do anything. You bring them all
They can
in,
reduce. That's what they can do.
Right, but even that, I even have a question about that, because for example, let's say we took away from whatever, the library, that we can't do that without,
I would be very reluctant to, because we've had a discussion about the library and the cost per card holder.
sure, right,
I'd be reluctant to address that
Right.
under these
Well, no, I don't
circumstances.
understand that, but I'm just thinking, did we, is sand gonna come in the same, or, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
things of like
Things
that.
like that.
I wasn't
Don't
thinking
impact-
that,
okay,
or
okay.
If we're
the
lucky,
norms.
if we're lucky, we'll have sand left.
But that's, you know what I mean?
And
That's
that
kind
kinda-
of more of what I was.
Yeah, I get it, I understand.
And we don't have to pave as much as we did last
Right,
year,
and
if we
right.
get squeezed.
Correct.
But if we have that money, if we have extra sand and extra asphalt, and revenue sharing, we really get clipped,
Yeah, then.
we can
say-
pull back
We can
Right.
tighten our
and,
belts.
and not have to raise taxes.
Right,
Right.
right.
We
In
might
which
have to have a
case-
special to take it from asphalt to something else, but at least the money will be there and the taxes that
Will
the
stay
bill,
the same.
it'll be reflected accurately,
Right.
exactly. It gives us a little wiggle room.
I think that's a great idea, I really do, I like it.
Me too.
I think,
Should we make a motion to do that?
yeah,
So I'll make a motion that we are going to, adopt,
adopt or implement or advance, one of those three.
Yeah. adopt, implement, and advance last year's budget as the budget that we are going to propose for this year, for 2021.
For 2021, with one caveat, if for some reason
Right,
the climate changes and we know by the end of December we can have a meeting,
Right.
then we pull back and we'll do this the
Right.
traditional way.
Right.
Yep.
right,
I would second that
okay,
motion.
all right,
In favor?
yep,
There we
all
go.
three.
Hopefully we get to have a meeting.
All three in favor.
All three were in favor, yes. And I really don't think, I think I would reach out to your budget committee members, thank them for willing to participate, but explain to them what we're doing.
Yep,
And if that changes, they're gonna be the first ones to get a call.
right,
I'll reach out to them.
yep, that's one thing put to bed.
Oh, there. Anything more on that? Never thought I would see this, but anyway. Appointment to the Water District, old business B.
Patrick O'Neill has agreed to be on the water board, and so I need a motion to have him appointed.
The other one didn't want, neither one of the others wanted it?
Neither one of the others would wanted to do that.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know Patrick, so.
He used to
I
be
would-
he was the head of TCTC.
yeah.
Oh, okay, I now just,
He's retired,
Yep.
looking for
So-
something to do.
He lives right on Dowdy Hill,
oh,
Used to be Patty Harris's,
place on the right.
oh.
no, she's a,
Pat, so what's his name? Pat, go ahead.
Patrick
Dale.
O'Neill.
Oh, you wanna make the motion?
Okay, make a motion to appoint Patrick O'Neill to the water board.
Second? We're all in favor. Congratulations, Patrick.
I'll send his, number to Jefferson,
I think
President at the moment.
I think so.
I think he stepped up after Ron passed away, so I'll send it to him and he can get him.
Yep.
And then I'll call him so he can come in and take his oath and we'll be all good to go.
Good.
Backing up, I just one thing I wanna address. The election for my seat, I will be a selectman until we are able to have a town meeting.
Okay,
That's just
That's-
statute. It doesn't, it's not like the president, you don't run out, so the next, but however, and right now my intention is to run again. But collecting signatures right now to me
You
doesn't seem
can't do it.
practical.
no,
So, now if that changes, I'll continue that tradition that both you and Dale have followed.
yeah,
But
yeah,
if it turns out that we don't, it doesn't seem practical and we have a meeting, I'll
run
run.
without the,
Without the necessary signatures,
very good,
okay? Just
yes.
so that's on the
That's
record.
great.
Didn't we, and I just thought of this, and maybe I'm thinking wrong, so please correct me. Isn't there something about, and I know this whole COVID thing kind of, everything is, but isn't there a thing where we had to start so many days prior to the meeting or something? And I
get
know
the
we really-
signatures?
Yes.
There was a window,
Yeah.
But it's from here to the meeting, right?
Right.
So where we don't know the meeting date, it doesn't matter, it's just gonna follow it right
Right,
through.
Right, and if it turns out that that window is operable, I'll go out and get the signatures. I think it's a great policy,
I
we
do
all
too.
three supported it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do, but I couldn't remember
Yep.
how we worded that window. That was my worry for, you know what I mean, about being able to do it.
Right, but as you said,
It should
that's all
follow.
gonna be, that's,
Correct.
But until everybody is comfortable and not greeting you with a mask at their doorway, I really don't wanna go knocking on doors.
No,
no.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Backing
That's great.
up to, new business, A, audit paperwork.
I got the new contract and I thought, I signed it and then I'm like, probably ought to run this by the board beforehand, but it's the same amount as last year and we're running on last year's budget, so now
There
it's
we
kind of a
go.
moot point and I will just send it to the auditor
That's great.
tomorrow.
B, there's a grant opportunity.
I got a call Monday from Trampus King asking if we were interested in participating in a grant that they had to send in their first documentation on December 1st. It looked like we'd been kind of left out of the loop and because I sent some of it to you. It's a community, it's a grant for economic development. If at any point we decide that we don't want to be involved, all we have to do is drop out. I don't know a whole lot about it yet, but I did give him the okay to put our name on in case we want to fully participate.
Quite often, these grants have some stipulations or criteria or
And
commitment.
if there's something that,
So we're not clear on that right now.
we're unclear on that, but at any point that we want to.
Okay.
You know, he called me very, very last minute.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I know,
Okay,
Yeah.
You wanna do this tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, by the way,
So,
yeah,
but he assured me that at any point we were uncomfortable or, you know, I know that it has to have your approval, not my approval, so.
so right now, and I did see all that, thank you for sending that, I did
I
not.
haven't read it all either.
Yeah, because it was on my, I have to look at it on my phone because my computer blew up. And I was like, oh no, I'm not doing that on the phone.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So, but
So we'll
Yeah.
all get educated on this.
Yes.
Okay.
that's good.
What's, it's economic development is in a nutshell, kind of?
They're focusing on, in this area, they're focusing on long-term poverty, generational poverty. And Sue Mackey Andrews was very into all of those kind of,
Yeah, she's very active with all
all
of the
those
social
issues, so-
action type of.
So she's leading the group.
Yep.
And I don't really know more than that.
Well, maybe she can come and talk to us about
Yeah.
it, that would be great.
Really good.
Yeah, and educate us.
It just wasn't something that we could
Yeah, so
pull
we'll,
off tonight.
Yeah.
I'll talk to her about maybe,
that'd be great.
maybe next time.
Good.
I'll call her.
On to item 7, town manager's report, fire department update, officers and budget.
Well, I've been meeting with the current chief and the prospective chief. They came in and wanted to talk about their budget and a bunch of other things that I don't really think they've been putting a lot of thought into lately, and so I was very encouraged by that. We've had a couple of issues, and I got a phone call before the rumor mill hit, and I had to call somebody else and say, what is going on? Their budget isn't gonna change, because, you know,
That's right.
but they're being proactive.
Good.
And
That's good.
we've been trying for months to get them to be proactive, and it finally seems to have kicked in.
Good?
That's
So-
good news.
I don't know if there's anything else, let's see, my list here. No, that's, oh, I showed this to Dale just before the meeting started, it's the new paid leave law. And I haven't been paying much attention because I didn't think it applies to us. Because you have to have 10 employees. But then it says full-time, part-time, temporary, or per diem in the usual regular course of business for more than 120 calendar days in any calendar year. So I'm going to have to check this out with MMA to see if fire departments who are on call, I don't think we are, but I will make sure that we aren't.
Because even a per diem has a requirement of so many hours per month.
Sure,
Right.
and they don't,
They have no requirement.
right,
Right.
yeah.
I
So
don't know
I'm
how,
not sure how you would,
I don't even know how you would administrate that because
Right.
you never have any idea of.
Right. When,
it's a volunteer on call, so.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
8, road commissioners report.
Okay, the freezing and thawing of our gravel roads
Oh, no
have made
kidding.
an awful
It's like
mess.
mud season.
I don't know what we're going to do about all of them. We might be able to get some grading out there. It's all a matter of timing and whether it rains again next week. And
Do you still have money?
we still have some money in the grading budget, even though we graded last week, the week before. So I will stay in touch with Chris and see if he can go out to East Sangerville and look at that. I was going to go out, but didn't make it today to check a bunch of the roads, and I didn't make it out. But I'm sure they're a mess. I went to Anderson Road, I got a call from somebody who's down in Center Pond. Wasn't sure she was going to be able to get out come morning, and I basically said, well, if that's the case, you might want to go home. Because there's no, it's raining and there's nothing I can
Nothing we can
do
do about
No.
until
That's ridiculous.
later, so.
Yeah.
Brush cutting update, he has finished, Rick Drew has finished Silver Mills. He's moved on to Townhouse. He's going to do Goff Road and Flanders Hill for us. That's his plan. He left off French's Mills, he said he decided that it was a priority.
I got a hold of the McAvoys too, and they're okay with him being able to leave the tractor down at the truck garage.
Oh, okay.
So in case Golf Road takes him a few days, he doesn't have to worry about hauling
Okay.
back and forth. I did mention it to him the other day, because he said he was gonna be headed that way, and I told him, well, that garage, if that would work for him, he said that would be great if that would happen, so. But I didn't see him Sunday, so.
I haven't seen him in a few days, so.
That triggered, I'm not sure where we are with, our plow contract. We were in a 3-year contract, I don't know if this is the last year of our.
It is.
Okay, so when we redo this budget, we're gonna have to go with a 1-year, cause we can't commit to a 3-year.
No.
And I think it would be,
I was in the process of updating it, and then I got a bombshell dropped on me. Parkman informed me that they are not going to do our section of the Goff Road, and that we would be responsible for that, and we would no longer be responsible for their end of the McFeeters Road. Their road commissioner told me that, I took it to their board decided for a couple of reasons that they were going to plow their own roads and not anybody else's. So I've talked to the news, but I haven't come to a conclusion yet. Basically, we were plowing 6/10 of a mile for Parkman on McFeeters, and they were plowing about a mile for us on Goff Road. And they decided that that was hugely unbalanced. And,
so we're asking Chris to pick up approximately a half a mile of plowing,
Yeah.
or less than that, but.
less than that, yeah.
But at the same time, I would broach that subject with him, that going into 21, you can't be more than a 1-year contract. That doesn't mean we can't revisit it once we can have a meeting
Right.
with the town, but I don't think we can't re-extend more than 1 year.
Wow, that's interesting.
No, and I just hope his price comes in, so we're still okay for budget.
Yeah, all,
Well, that's my bigger fear.
the
honestly.
more that he knows in advance,
Yeah.
maybe the more we can all work together.
Yep. So we've
Because
got-
he's only gonna be stuck with 1 year, so that might help him. But anyway, that's a reality of that situation.
Yeah, we've had a couple of, I was working on the bid packet, and then this came up, and so I haven't put the bid packet out yet. But,
He's free to bid a 3-year, he just needs to understand that we're not gonna be able to commit to that until we can have a meeting.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So how are we gonna, actually, we're still gonna have to, we're gonna have to go out to bid? Or are we going to go out to bid?
Oh, for the plowing?
Yeah, if he's up this year.
Well, I guess if he would agree to another year at that rate, I think we could
Just
all rubber
extend it.
stamp that.
Yeah, yeah.
If he, I guess there's probably a window there, that, then we'd wanna bid it. But we can only do 1 year.
Yeah, either way, we're only.
And we can't spend any more money than we had, so.
Well, that's kind of the catch-22 about how this is gonna go, so.
Yeah.
That's really, we might be able to avoid a whole lot of angst if Chris and Warren say, yeah, we can do 21 this way for 1 more year, you know, maybe. I don't
So they're
speak for
gonna
them.
they're gonna plow the golf road, our portion, and they're gonna stop plowing.
McFeeters,
Well.
Or
and
turn
they-
around
yeah,
somewhere.
Well, they can either, first time talking about it, and they used to turn around right across from, Linda Hall's driveway, which is on, I can't remember the name, Shar and.
Share
Share
and
and-
Mark
Yeah, there's a
Pearson.
turnaround right on the line.
There's a turnaround there's a gate there probably which is in the way, so we'd have to get approval if you wanted to turn around there.
I think they did.
Did they?
That's what it looked like to me. I didn't see that. Looked to me like that's where everybody, it isn't just us turning around. I mean, Parkman's gonna use the same
Parkman's
one.
gonna have to get
Ah,
approval as well. Chris said to me, well, I think I'll just drive out to Route 150 and turn around anyway.
yeah,
That,
maybe his blade won't be up in both directions, but.
So I don't know, again, we haven't finished talking about it, but, if I do need,
yeah,
somebody to reach out,
oh, absolutely, I know them very well. And I also know the people around the park, well, that doesn't help us, but,
well.
right, Mark and Sherry's neighbors who have all those fields in the like next, abutting them on the Parkman side too, so.
Okay.
And they live on Long Island, so they're not even here, the
Okay.
ones with all the fields.
Okay.
So, either one, I can talk to them
All right,
and
I'll talk
get
to
the
Chris
ball rolling.
and get,
Yeah, it's just, everybody needs to understand that we've got handcuffs on.
Yeah,
Hopefully it'll all work out.
yeah,
But the sooner we know, the better.
Well, I mean, hopefully sometime next summer, we should be able to have something. So if we have
Right.
to do an adjustment, if we have to, we
uh-huh,
have
well,
to.
you're gonna have to have a meeting to, clean up all the non-budgetary things, I would think, as well. The things that you pass every year, like giving you permission to.
Oh, 100%.
Accept donations, and giving you permission, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
You gotta elect a new selectman.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna have
Well,
to all.
That's right.
the kind of, the clunky thing is everything we appoint is until the next meeting.
yeah,
So, I mean, we never, it's not a timeline, it's to the next meeting,
that's right.
so.
So we're gonna have to figure that.
All right, I will talk to them.
Okay, anything more on the gravel roads, brush cutting we've covered?
Oh, the only thing on brush cutting, the one thing that I noticed out on Dock Road, is, I wanna call consolidated, because there's a bunch of phone line hanging,
Okay.
and,
Did you drive out the golf road?
yeah. It'd be nice if they could hurry up and get them out of the way, so we can get the brush cutting done right.
Oh, boy, yeah.
Correspondence? Request for additional agenda items? Selectmen's concerns?
None.
Executive session? Moving past?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Third,
It's 10 minutes to 6, and we are adjourned.